frequencies, how would you characterize that number or characterize that difference? And now I'll ask you the same question, Dr. Weir. How would you characterize the difference between 1 in 26 versus 1 in 11,306?
Mr. Neufeld, Mr. Clark did not ask me that question. He asked me to compare the results from Friday and the results from today.
Well, I'm going to ask you to compare 1 in 26 to 1 in 11,306, sir. Is that a small difference, a medium difference, or a very large difference?
Well, I would say that example is a very large difference.
And sir, again, you started using a gambling analogy under a redirect examination. Let me ask you this question, sir. If you were told that the probability, let's say at a horse race that you attended at the track, for a certain horse coming across the finish line was 1 in 26, and someone else told you was 1 in 11,306, is that a meaningful spread that you could evaluate before you decide to bet on that horse?
I think in that circumstance I wouldn't bet any more than I would place a specific number on this profile. I think we've been very honest to convey to the court the frequency estimate of that profile from the knowledge we have available to us. We don't have a precise value. We are laying it all out. The frequency of that profile in a mixture could be somewhere in this range. I think I said these are not enormously rare profiles at the PCR level. We haven't hidden anything. That's the range in this particular case.
Is there anything else you'd like to say on that? Is there?
I'm sorry, no.
No, I'm just asking, is there more to that answer?
No, thank you.
Nothing further.
Thank you. No further questions.
All right, Dr. Weir, thank you very much, sir. You are excused. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to switch to a different witness at this point. I'm going to ask you to step back into the jury room. We need to change some exhibits and things, and we'll have you back out here as soon as we're ready to go. All right, let the record reflect that the jury has withdrawn from the courtroom. Counsel, what's your pleasure? Who's your next witness, Ms. Clark? All right, is she available?
Mr. Bailey and Mr. Blaiser are looking at
Yes,
charts,
please.
and I think there's some things to
You know, and I have one application to make as well, which is that Dr. Weir is still here. Hope he is. Well,
Yes.
oh, good. Dr. Weir furnished us with a few hundred pages of tables for the pairings for the 2 and 3 contributor assumptions to the data in this case. And he didn't give us the tables in hard copy for the 4 because he just said it was too voluminous, and I certainly accept that. In order, though, for our own experts to independently evaluate his calculations and what he's done here, what we'd like to have and what we need to have is simply a copy of his computer program, because I believe we already have the data of the frequencies. And I would simply ask the court to ask the prosecution to simply have Dr. Weir make a copy of that program available so our experts can independently evaluate it prior to their taking the witness stand in this case.
We have no opposition to providing the defense the data itself, but I don't feel that Dr. Weir has to provide everything in his laboratory that relates to this type of program.
It's not everything. It's just that there's no way we can check his numbers unless we have his program. That's the whole point. And I'm not asking for everything in his laboratory. He has a computer program.
I'm sure it's a proprietary program, though.
I'll put it under protective order, Your Honor. We will not let anybody else see it or disclose it to anybody. And if we give it to 1 or 2 of our experts to evaluate, they too can sign a protective order, if that's the concern. Other than that, since he relied on that computer program to generate this data, we're entitled to it. I'm not asking him to create something that doesn't exist. He already has the program.
They are welcome to the data, Your Honor, but I don't think there's any basis to order somebody to turn over the program and how to interpret the data. If they have the data, then the defense experts can interpret it just as well.
All right, when can you have that data available? All right.
The data is inadequate, Your Honor, for our experts to determine whether or not he, in fact, conveyed these or did his calculations properly. His calculations are predicated on his computer program. the only way we'll know if he did it right is to at least rely on the same computer program. It can't be done any other way.
Have the data available tomorrow. All right, request for the computer program itself is denied. All right. Next witness. Mr. Blaiser, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Before we do the next witness, I'm assuming we're getting into hair and trace evidence. We were just presented with, I think, 33 pages of new discovery on the next two witnesses. One is a 5-page typed report from the first witness, who we had nothing from before. The rest of it are handwritten notes by Susan Brockbank, which we have other material from her. This is new material. We object to the late discovery. There is also a large board that they want to use that we've never seen before until just now. It has a lot of chain of custody information on it. It may be perfectly fine, but we haven't had a chance to look at it. I've reviewed Ms. Lewis's report. I'm prepared to go ahead with her today. I am not prepared to go ahead with Ms. Brockbank. Her handwritten notes, I have to sit down and go through them and correlate them to her old notes before I'm prepared to cross-examine her. So we need some time to look at their chart before we can start with, and anything else that they might want to use with this first witness.
All right, Mr. Fretlow, is this the chart?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, why don't you bring that up? Why don't you just lean it up against the jury rail there, please? All right, Mr. Blaiser, you want to take a look at that and see what your concerns are?
Well, I don't have all these dates in my head, Your Honor. I can't.
No, I mean, I just wanted to know what the nature of your objection, or you said you hadn't had a chance to look at it.
Correct. I haven't had a chance to correlate the numbers and the dates. They sent us one other chart on exemplars, which we're prepared to stipulate to, that did have dates on it. We could cross-compare those, but there's a lot of information on this chart, and I just haven't had a lot of time to absorb it. I've had a couple of minutes.
Well, how much time do you need, Mr. Blaiser?
I don't know how many items they're going to cover with Ms. Lewis. Do you know, Ms. Clark?
We'll do the, it'll be basically all the knowns.
Exemplary.
Exactly. It'll be, not all the knowns, obviously, just the stuff that came from the coroner's office, item 73, 79, 81, 83, 86.
And 122?
On that board.
What about 122?
No, that doesn't pertain to Ms. Lewis, Your Honor.
All right. That's all you're going to cover with this witness?
That's correct.
Mr. Blaiser?
Madam Mayor.
Sure. And I take it Ms. Lewis is readily available?
Yes. Mr. Blaiser referred to, Your Honor, he got them as soon as I got them. I haven't even read Susan Brockbank's notes, and I was reading Denise Lewis's notes that he's talked about during this witness.
Objection as to Ms. Lewis, and I assume that tomorrow morning we'll hear about Brockbank if there's a problem.
Yep, all I'm saying is that the notes did not exist until this morning. So it's not late discovery. That's when they were written.
Just for purpose of calculating time, Your Honor, I understood from Mr. Darden this morning in chambers that the main emphasis on comparison will be with Diedrich and not a whole litany with Brockbank. Is that-
Exactly right. Yeah, there's not going to be any testimony about comparison from Brockbank at all. At all.
Who's your comparison expert?
Doug Diedrich of the FBI. I've attempted to make sure there's no overlap. So.
All right. So how many hair and trace witnesses are we going to have?
3.
Got it. Okay.
And that's why I've just proposed a stipulation concerning the taking of other exemplars to prevent the calling of other witnesses just to say I took an exemplar. And they'd agreed, I believe.
Okay.
That's this one.
Correct.
Mr. Blaiser?
We do have objections. We're not prepared to stipulate to the collection of any evidence items by the coroner's office or by Mr. Yamauchi. There are exemplars, and we presented a stipulation. The fingernail kit, the hair kits, those.
The fingernail kit and the hair kit were already done by business records. The only thing I'm asking you to stipulate to, and it's already in the stipulation that you've looked at, is a collection of exemplars from the clothing by Yamauchi and Raquel,
Fabric samples are fine, I have no problem with that.
and the Bronco carpet fiber exemplars.
I have no problem with that either.
That's all you're asked for, that's all we need.
Well, we aren't agreeing to anything done by Radcliffe at the coroner's office. We aren't agreeing that the clothing of the victims was properly preserved by the coroner's office, and we would object to testimony about what happened to that clothing unless it's subject to connection at some later point in time.
We are putting in the clothing of the victims and the hair sample taken from the victims. Mr. Kelberg laid the foundation through business records. As far as the coroner's office is concerned, we pick up the chain from Denise Lewis, who will identify by coroner's number and packaging exactly what the items were that she recovered from the coroner's office that was attributed to the decedents. And we believe that's sufficient to complete the chain. Defense wants to call witnesses that pertain to that in their case in chief. They're welcome to do so, but I don't think the people are required to do anything further other than identify from the packages. Unless the defense can make the challenge and show there's something wrong with the chain of the people versus Reiser, we can do so by the identity of numbers on the packaging and the descriptions of the items themselves, and we intend to do so with the witnesses that we will call.
All right, so what's the roadblock, at least starting with this witness this afternoon?
None?
No, I have no objection to going ahead with this witness. I just want to make it clear, we're not stipulating, for instance, with the clothing. The shirt obviously was not properly collected because it was moldy and smelly by the time it got to the crime lab. We've had testimony that if it was collected properly, that wouldn't happen. So we know presumptively that wasn't collected properly, and we are not agreeing that it was.
I'm
All right.
not asking you to.
All right.
I'm just saying that was the shirt.
So I just wanted to know the parameters of what the objections are, but if there's no objection based upon the report that was disclosed this afternoon to proceeding with Ms. Lewis, let's proceed with Ms. Lewis. All right. Anything else? Yeah. All right, Mr. Fairlow, would you turn that down, please, so the jury can't see it until it's going to be used? 5 o'clock.
Yeah, Mr. Fairlow indicated that he would fax me a copy of that tonight so that we can take a look at it over the evening break.
Fine. All right, counsel, anything else before we invite the jurors to rejoin us? All right, let's have the jury, please. All right, people may call the next witness.
Thank you, Ronnie. People call Ms. Denise Lewis.
All right, Ms. Lewis.
Raise your right hand, please. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you may give in the following interview before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please have a seat. The witness stand and state your lawyer's first and last names for the record.
Denise Lewis, D-E-N-I-S-E, Lewis, L-E-W-I-S.
Ms. Clark.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, Ms. Lewis.
Good afternoon.
Can you tell us, please, what you do for a living?
I work for Los Angeles Police Department. I'm a laboratory technician assigned to Scientific Investigation Division. I've been with Los Angeles Police Department since 1981.
I could ask you to please slow down for the court reporter and try and keep your voice up just a little bit, okay?
Yes.
You a little bit nervous?
Very.
All right. Tell us what that means. What does a lab technician do?
My function with Los Angeles Police Department, I'm assigned to go out in the field with the criminalists, help gather evidence at crime scenes. I also, one of my primary responsibilities is to handle all coroner's evidence, evidence from the coroner's office into our lab for analysis. I assign booking numbers to it, itemize them.
Now, do you have some kind of a background in science?
Yes, I've got a bachelor's in biology, and I've got a post-grad class at UCLA in biochemistry.
And when did you begin with LAPD?
In 1981.
And have you continuously been with LAPD since then?
I've been on the books with Los Angeles Police Department the entire time, but I have been off. There was a period of time, 2 years, where I was off due to work comp situation.
And when you say work comp situation, what was that?
I had a slip and fall downstairs while at work.
Is that an injury you currently still suffer from?
Yes, it is.
Are you back to work now?
Yes, I am.
And when did you return to work?
June 1993.
All right, now did you receive some training in the handling of items concerning hair and trace that may be on those items?
Yes, I have.
Now, when I say hair and trace, tell us what that means.
Hair, the obvious, different hair. Trace, you've got soil, debris. You also have carpet fibers, anything, minute items that might have been dropped from various items.
How about clothing fibers?
Yes.
And what is it exactly that you've learned with respect to how items that may contain hairs and fibers for analysis should be handled?
Could you rephrase, please?
Sure. When you are handling items that are recovered from a crime scene, items of evidence that may have hairs or fibers on them that need to be preserved for analysis, is there in general something that you're required to do, that you know that you must do in order to preserve the hair and fiber evidence?
Well, basically, we've got various ways of collecting the items. First, when we observe the items, which we can use opaque lighting for observation of hair and trace evidence. Once we discover it, we're going to use gloved hands, gather the evidence, putting it either into a plastic container or a paper bindle, or we also use sticky lifts or a tape type lift to gather the evidence.
Now, do you take any particular care with the items of evidence that are recovered to make sure that hair and trace is not lost or transferred to another item?
Yes, we do.
And what kind of measures are those?
Well, as an example with the sticky lifts, that's one way of you pick it up and it's not going to go anywhere because you take it from the tape and then you put it on like a cardboard, or sometimes we use a fingerprint card in the field, and that will preserve it and it won't allow cross-contamination with other items. We also, when we pick up a trace, hair trace, we put it into a plastic envelope that will keep it. We keep everything separate. We don't cross-mingle things.
Now, when you are handling items of evidence that are recovered from a crime scene for the purpose of preserving them in some manner, how are you dressed?
When I'm at the crime scene itself?
No, when you're at the lab.
When I'm in the lab, I'm either wearing our cloth, a cotton lab coat, or I'll wear a disposable lab coat. And depending on if I'm handling bulky items such as clothing or other carpets or whatever, I'll have additional protection of disposable sleeves on, plus I wear gloves. And occasionally I'll wear eye protection.
Now, when you say lab coat, what color is that coat?
It's a white coat.
Is that standard wear in the lab?
Yes, it is.
And with respect to gloves, what kind of gloves do you use?
They're latex.
When you say disposable sleeves, can you describe what those are?
It's a paper-like material, and the sleeves come up to the elbow, goes from my wrist to my elbow. It's just added protection for my wrist area and my elbow, since you can rest your arms on things that will gather evidence. I don't want that to be transferred onto my person or make a chance, to make sure I don't cross-contaminate everything.
Now, have you ever processed, how many coroner's cases have you processed in the past?
Well over 200.
Was this case that's now before this court and this jury a coroner's case for you?
Yes, it was.
And what does that mean?
It means it was evidence that was picked up from the coroner's office and brought to me for handling and booking of the items, make the police report, and then put it back into
With the counter area to make it a clean area.
I laid down 2 layers of disposable terry cloth towels.
Why'd you do that?
It is a small working area for myself. It just keeps everything nice and confined. It's close. It makes sure I don't contaminate the counter. It also makes sure nothing contaminates the items that I'm working with.
And what did you do first?
I removed the items out of the manila envelope first, out of Mr. Goldman's manila envelope, pulled them out for identification.
And what items were in that manila envelope?
The EDTA swatch, and it's an envelope that is marked EDTA, and a second envelope that is marked decedent's hair kit.
All right. Now, what is the EDTA, envelope or swatch?
It is a blood preservative. It is a cotton swatch, I believe, and it is soaked with EDTA, which is, as I said, is a blood preservative. And the coroner uses this to gather a sample of the victim's blood while doing the autopsy.
So the envelope that contains the sample of the victim's blood is in one envelope small envelope by itself?
Correct.
Is that like a coin-size envelope?
Yes.
Was it sealed?
Yes.
Did you unseal it?
No.
And you said there was a decedent's hair kit in there as well?
Correct.
I'm going to ask you to direct your attention to the monitor, Your Honor. I ask that this photograph be marked People's Next in order. 412? Thank you. See what's there on 412?
Yes.
Is that familiar?
Yes, it is.
Please tell us what it is.
That is the decedent's hair kit.
For
It's difficult to read. One moment, please.
would it help if we zoomed in there? Hey, thank you.
Much better. It's for Mr. Goldman.
Okay. If you can pull it back out. Thank you. All right, now there's 3 coin envelopes to the right of the larger one marked as decedent's hair kit. Were they contained inside that envelope marked decedent's hair kit when you saw them?
Unknown. I never opened up the decedent's hair kit to verify what was inside the envelope. I can say that the 3 envelopes mark what the coroner has marked on the envelope as being contained, but I can't confirm it.
Well, when you received that larger envelope on the left-hand side that is entitled decedent's hair kit, was it sealed?
Yes, it was.
Did you ever open it?
No, I didn't.
And counsel, may it be stipulated that Ms. Lewis received that hair kit envelope in a sealed condition and never opened it at any time.
So stipulated.
Thank you.
Stipulations accepted by the court.
Now, when you removed that item and the EDTA swatch from the manila envelope for Ron Goldman, did you assign an item number?
Yes, I did.
And what did you assign to what?
EDTA swatch, I assigned number 72, and the decedent's hair kit, I assigned number 73.
And that was the number shown up in the upper right-hand corner of that photograph?
Yes, it is.
And let the jury see that, too. Oh, John. Is that your handwriting there on the envelope?
The 73 is yes, and my writing on the bottom, yes.
Where on the bottom is your writing?
My initials, DL, and my serial number, and the 62794 is my writing.
Is that the second line at the very bottom there?
Yes, it is.
All right. That's fine, thank you. What did you do with the envelopes, the decedent's hair kit, that's at the left side of that photograph, and the EDTA swatch, after you gave them item numbers?
I created a analyzed frozen envelope. It is a white envelope that we use to actually book it into our property room. I filled out the information on it, and I put these items into that envelope.
And I'm showing you now a photograph that I'd ask to be marked as People's Next in order 413.
All right, 413.
Do you recognize what's being shown to you here?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
It is the analyzed frozen envelope.
And is that the frozen envelope that you placed item number 73 and item number 72 into?
Yes.
Do you see your initials on it? Or your writing on it?
Yes, I do.
And where is that?
The fourth line down, Louis D. Charles 9013.
That's you?
Yes,
And then it lists item numbers. Are those the item numbers, the items contained in that envelope?
they were.
Now, after you put the decedent's hair kit for Ronald Goldman and the EDTA swatch for Ronald Goldman with the item numbers into this white envelope, what did you do next?
At that time, I thought I was completed with Ron Goldman's physical evidence, so I proceeded on to Nicole Simpson's physical evidence.
And in that respect, what did you do
I
to prepare?
To prepare for it, I discarded, I first looked at the terry cloth towels that I had down to make sure nothing seeped through, that I didn't have any trace evidence or any blood on them. They were clean, they were discarded, my gloves were discarded, and fresh gloves were applied, and new terry cloth towels were placed down on the counter.
And what did you do then?
Then I proceeded to pull out the manila envelope that had Miss Brown's information, her physical evidence.
And by that you mean her physical evidence?
Her
you mean-
physical evidence, meaning her hair, the blood swatch, some blood scrapings, and fingernail clippings.
Now, the manila envelopes for Ron and Nicole that you're referring to, were those are the large envelopes that contain the smaller ones you just described.
Yes.
Were they closed in some manner?
It's just, they're closed with just the metal clasp on it.
That hasp that you spread out and flattened?
Right, it's just an 8x10 envelope.
Okay. Contained inside the manila envelope with Nicole Brown's identifying information on it, you found what?
An EDTA swatch, a decedent's hair kit, a fingernail kit, and 2 physical evidence envelopes that contain blood scrapings per the coroner's office.
Were those sealed?
Yes, they were.
Did you open the seals on any of those smaller envelopes?
No.
And counsel, may it be stipulated that Ms. Lewis received the decedent's hair kit for Nicole Brown on June 27th in a sealed condition from the coroner's office and never opened the seal?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, stipulations accepted by the court.
Thank you, Ron. So you had, with respect to the decedent's hair kit, do you recognize what's being shown to you in the photograph now before you?
Yes?
Ask that this photograph be marked Peoples 414, Your Honor.
414.
Thank you. What is it?
It's a decedent's hair kit. It's marked for... Could it be focused a little bit better, please? For Brown Simpson, Nicole, with coroner case number 945136.
All right, let me just ask, Ms. Fitzpatrick, apparently our monitor in front of juror number 1 is not working. Is that correct, juror number 1? Can we check that real quick? Mr. Fairtlow, you want to check that? It's back on? All right, proceed. Thank you. Did we forget to turn it on?
Yes, it just needs to be turned on.
High tech, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Clark?
And that is the decedent's hair kit for Nicole Simpson?
Yes, it is.
All right, what did you do with the decedent's hair kit that you have gotten a sealed condition, the EDTA swatch, fingernail kit, and the blood scrapings, all those sealed envelopes? What did you do with them?
The items were all, I added the reporting number, the district reporting number, the DR number, my initials, serial number, the date that I received the items from Ms. DeGrandes, and the item number for each individual item number.
Okay. Now, I see a number crossed off there on the decedent's hair kit.
Yes.
Is that the is that your doing?
Yes, it is with my initials.
You had to change that number at some point?
Yes, I did.
All right, we'll get back to that. It's 75 there that's crossed out, correct?
Correct.
But are those your initials next to that?
Yes, they are.
And underneath that, number 83?
Yes.
You wrote that down?
Yes, I did.
And is number 83 the item number that it actually is assigned?
May I refer to my notes?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
All right, after you got done initialing and itemizing by number all of the items for Nicole Brown from the manila envelope, what did you do?
Once again, I looked at the terry cloth towels, make sure there isn't any trace evidence that was left. Nothing was observed. The cloth towels and my gloves were discarded.
And what did you do with those actual envelopes?
Those were
Right
also
now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
those were also discarded.
The envelopes?
The envelopes. Are you referring to the smaller envelopes? Or are you referring to the manila envelopes?
I'm referring to the smaller envelopes.
The smaller envelopes were put into the analyzed frozen envelope, the white frozen envelope.
The one that we just saw on the screen before, People's 413?
Yes,
All
the
right.
same with Mr. Goldman's.
The same one?
It's the same envelope as what I put Mr. Goldman's evidence into.
Now, if we could go back to 83 for a minute. With respect to this photograph, number 414, right here before you, you see only item number 83, correct?
Correct.
The other envelopes you're referring to, the EDTA swatch and the fingernail kit and blood scrapings, were separate envelopes?
Yes, they are.
Were they as big as the decedent's hair kit? If you remember.
Not all. No, they're not.
But they got their own item numbers, correct?
Yes, I did.
So after you put the decedent's hair kit and the other envelopes into the white frozen envelope, what did you do next?
I sealed the envelope.
And then what'd you do?
The envelope was placed into the freezer that is inside our supply room area, which is also a secured area.
Now, you indicated, I believe, also that you changed your gloves and threw away the terry cloth towels.
Yes.
Was there any paper down on that table?
I then placed paper down for the next stage of the itemization.
What kind of paper is it?
It's butcher block paper.
What was the next thing that you did after you put that butcher block paper down?
Then I gathered Mr. Goldman's, the white mesh bag, and started preparing to go through those items.
Who'd you begin with?
Mr. Goldman's items.
And where were Nicole's items while you were doing that?
They were on the side on another table.
Were any of the bags with her clothing open at that time?
No.
Sealed shut?
Yes.
The white paper that you put down, is that clean?
Yes, it is.
Which item did you begin with for Ron Goldman?
I started with the bag that was marked shirt.
What did you do with that bag?
The bag was opened up. Inside, I observed a heavy shirt and also a large white bindle of paper.
Now, the bag containing the shirt, was it sealed in any manner when you got it?
It had coroner's tape seal on it, yes.
I have a photograph that is now on the screen. Your Honor, it has to be marked People's 415.
415.
Thank you. Do you recognize the item and the bag that's in front of you now on the monitor?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
That is the shirt that came, that's Mr. Goldman's shirt, or identified from the coroner's office as being Mr. Goldman's shirt, and that is the bag that I placed the shirt into.
Now, that is not the bag that you first received the shirt in, correct?
No, ma'am.
And can you describe the bag that you received the shirt in?
It's a brown paper bag, very similar to that.
Okay, when you opened the bag, you saw that there was a bindle in that bag as well as the shirt?
Yes.
Were there any other items of clothing in that bag?
No.
And what did the bindle look like?
It was a large bindle, folded paper. I couldn't, the approximate size would have been about 6 by 8 inches, thereabouts.
And was it sealed?
Yes, it was.
Did it have some writing on it?
Yes, it did.
What writing, if you remember?
Is it all right if I refer to my notes?
Do you need to refresh your memory?
Yes, I
Go
do.
ahead.
You may.
It states, from under Ron Goldman's jacket, examined by G. Sigler and Dr. Baden.
Is there a date?
I don't have that in my notes, no, ma'am.
Okay. Is there a description on that bindle?
That is the only description from them.
Okay. When you noticed that there was a bindle inside the bag, what did you do?
I contacted my supervisor, Mr. Matheson, to verify that I continue with my normal procedure on handling evidence.
And what is your normal procedure?
Anything that I cannot identify for my report, I open up to verify what the contents are so I can appropriately describe them for my report.
And what did Mr. Matheson tell you to do?
Proceed as usual. Open
And-
up the items.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Tell us exactly what you did with that bindle.
Well, over the butcher block paper that I had down myself, clean butcher block paper, I opened up the bindle and looked to see what was inside. I unsealed the bindle, looked to see what was inside, and discovered dirt and debris, and then I resealed the package.
Where was the shirt when you did that?
It was still inside its bag, and it was put aside and on another table.
So the shirt was not near the bindle as you opened it?
No, it was not.
Both. Two photographs, Your Honor. Asked that they're going to be marked. The upper one with the bindle closed, number 77 on it, People's 416.
So, Mark.
Thank you. And below that, Your Honor, can we make that 416A?
Sure. Which is apparently the bindle unfolded.
Exactly. Do you recognize what's shown to you in 416 and 416A?
Yes.
Please describe for us first in 416. What's that?
416 is the way the bindle, basically the way the bindle looked when I received it, except for the Los Angeles Police Department evidence seal on it and my initials.
Was it sealed when you first found it inside the shirt bag?
Yes, it was, with the coroner's office seal.
And the description that you read to us earlier,
Is what is written partially underneath that seal of mine.
was it soil or debris under Ron Goldman's jacket? Oh, from under Ron Goldman's jacket?
Right.
All right. Is that the writing you found on the envelope when you first saw it on June 27th?
Yes, it is.
And when you opened it, you saw what is reflected in the photograph, 416A?
Yes, it is.
And that is the same bindle but open, correct?
Correct.
When you saw the contents of the envelope, what did you do? Did you touch the soil and debris?
No, ma'am.
You just looked?
Just looked and folded it back up and sealed it.
Resealed it?
Yes.
And what did you do with the bindle after you resealed it?
It was placed on the counter with other items.
Did you look at your gloves after you resealed that bindle?
Yes.
For what purpose?
Just to verify that they're clean, that nothing got on, no transfer of any trace evidence.
Did you look at the butcher paper that was on top of the table under the bindle when you looked at it?
Yes, I did.
And for what purpose did you look at that butcher paper?
For the same thing, to make sure no trace evidence had fallen out from the bindle when I opened it up.
And did you see any?
No.
So what did you do?
The butcher block paper was removed. It was my gloves and the paper were both put in the trash. They were clean.
What happened next?
At that stage, I put fresh paper down on the table, and then I pulled out the shirt to look at it for identification purposes.
Now, at this point, did you actually number this bindle?
Yes, ma'am, I did. It later got crossed off.
What number did you initially give this?
Initially, it was given, I have 74 in there. It was initially given 74, and that was crossed off. There was one thing that happened between this stage before I gave it the 74 that I forgot.
Oh, tell us, what happened?
That was when I discovered that I had this soil and what I consider as additional physical evidence. I like to keep my items, basically my physical evidence, with the physical evidence that belongs to the individual. This was physical evidence that belonged to Ron Goldman. So I went back into the freezer where I had put in the frozen envelope, gathered that up, brought it back into the evidence processing room, unsealed it, removed the items in it, and crossed off the numbers that I had assigned initially to Mr. Brown's items, so I can keep Mr. Goldman's items all consecutive. And I assigned him 74, which got crossed off again due to an additional item that I found later on.
All right, so is it unusual to find bindles in the packages containing the clothing from the coroner's office?
Yes, it is.
So when you process the coroner's items, in general, when you say items of physical evidence, are you talking about the hair kit, the blood, the fingernails, that sort of thing?
Yes, I am.
And so you keep those consecutive for each victim,
Yes,
and then you keep the clothing consecutive for each victim?
yes.
When you discovered this bindle in Ron Goldman's shirt bag, that's what caused you to go back and start the renumbering all over again?
Yes,
When you retrieved the frozen analysis envelope back out of the freezer, it was sealed, correct?
yes,
Did you have to break that seal?
yes, I did.
And why is that?
The only way to get back into the envelope is to break the seal.
And you decided that you were going to put this bindle with soil and debris into the frozen analysis envelope?
No, it was decided that I was going to have to renumber Nicole's items, so I had to get into the bindle to cross off those numbers.
When you say renumber Nicole's items, you mean her hair kit and fingernail kit, that sort of thing?
Yes,
On the front of that frozen analysis envelope, that white envelope, do you have a description by item number of what is supposed to be contained in it?
the item numbers are on it, yes.
Would that have to be changed too?
Yes, it did.
So, did you just cross off the numbers on the front of it?
No, I made a whole new envelope, which is the one that we saw earlier.
That's the one that was in the photograph marked People's 413?
Yes,
That one?
yes,
Okay. So after you broke the seals and you crossed off the numbers for Nicole Brown's items like her hair kit, fingernail kit, blood scrapings, etc., then what did you do?
after I crossed her items off, then I went back to, well, her items were placed on the side, on the counter. Basically, the counter is a clean area. No, the clothing, the loose clothing, nothing is left over there. Anything that's on the counter is going to be kept sealed.
So did you put Ron's decedent's hair kit and Nicole's decedent's hair kit both into the new frozen analysis envelope,
Yes, I did.
along with the other items you've mentioned that you had in there previously?
Yes,
And that would be items 73 and 83 for the hair kits, respectively?
yes,
Now, this time, did you seal it and put it into the freezer?
no, I didn't.
And why not?
I received one surprise from the coroner's office. I wanted to double check, wait until I went through all the items to make sure that there wasn't anything else mixed in with other items.
All right, now, I believe you testified that the bindle that had been in the bag with the shirt, you had folded up, resealed, and put to the side, correct?
Yes,
And then you said you changed your gloves in the butcher paper?
yes.
Then what did you do?
Then at that stage, I went to the next bag and brought it to the, I'm sorry, did I say I put down fresh butcher block paper?
Yes, you did. Did you examine the shirt?
Yes, I also examined the shirt.
And in what manner did you examine the shirt? Please describe for us how you did that.
Well, the shirt was taken out of the brown paper bag, and the shirt was laid on the clean butcher block paper that I'd laid down.
What, if anything, unusual did you observe about the shirt?
Moldy areas.
Moldy?
Yes.
How'd that look?
Green fuzz?
In any, was there what appeared to be blood in the areas of green fuzz on the shirt?
Yes.
Was there a lot of what appeared to be blood on that shirt?
Yes.
Was it damp when you took it out of the bag?
No.
Dry?
Yes.
Okay. When you took it out of the bag, were you wearing your lab coat?
Yes.
Were you wearing clean gloves?
Yes.
Were you wearing disposable sleeves?
Yes.
And you took it out onto the clean butcher paper?
Yes.
Did you shake it?
No.
Did you twist it?
No. It is just laid out on the butcher block paper. You tried not to disturb the clothing as much as possible.
And why is that?
Keep all trace evidence that came with the clothing on the clothing.
So you purposely avoided shaking or moving it aloud?
Yes.
Other than the mold, what else did you see?
Mold and blood, nothing else was. I wasn't looking for any real trace evidence. I'm just looking for abnormalities. I checked the make of the style of the shirt, the type of shirt, for identification, for descriptive purposes.
So that's not your function then, is to collect trace evidence? You're not doing that?
Not when I'm dealing with coroner's evidence, no.
What is your primary purpose then in taking the items out of the bags and looking at them?
For descriptive purposes, to be able to identify them in court.
And is it an inventory control to make sure you're getting what the coroner claims you're getting?
Yes.
After you looked at the shirt, after you laid it down and looked at it, then what did you do?
The shirt was put back into a clean bag.
Did you fold it in some manner?
It was folded and then it was put in a bag. And then I observed. Then I looked at the butcher block paper to make sure, to see if there was any trace evidence or anything left on the paper.
After you put the shirt into the bag?
Yes.
Now the bag that's up in the upper left-hand corner, is it? Well, this is another photograph of the shirt. I'd ask it to be marked Peoples 417.
417.
Thank you, Your Honor. And is you see the item marked 417?
Yes.
Do you recognize what that is?
Yes.
What is it?
It is the shirt that I received from the coroner's office that was assigned to Mr. Goldman.
And is that how it appeared to you on that day?
Yes.
Now, the photograph that was previously marked as Peoples 416. Do you see the bag in that photograph?
Yes.
And do you see the item of clothing in that photograph?
Yes.
What is the item of clothing?
It is the shirt.
And the bag, is that the one you made up?
Yes, it is.
So you transferred Mr. Goldman's shirt from the brown bag that the coroner submitted it to you in a sealed condition into a new bag?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because this item, it came in with two items. I received the shirt and the white paper bindle that had the soil and debris in it. And I've been trained to keep my items separate.
So you created a new bag for the shirt?
Yes.
And is that what you put it into, this bag shown here?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Your Honor. There was one photograph I forgot to show the defense, and I don't want to. Two more photographs, Your Honor, if I may. Um, 418. And if I may, 418A. I'm going to show you far away and then close up. These two bags. You see the one, 418 has the word shirt written on it.
Yes.
And John, if you could show her the lower right corner. See a number in the lower right corner of that photograph containing the photo of the bag marked shirt.
Yes.
And what number is that?
81.
Do you recognize that number?
Yes, I do.
And what does that number refer to?
It refers to the number I assigned the shirt in my police report.
And dropping down to 418A. What is that?
That is the same bag, just a different side of it.
And what is that bag?
It's the bag that came from the coroner's office with the shirt, the original bag.
So after you repackaged the shirt into the new bag that you previously identified, you kept that original bag?
Yes, I did.
What'd you do with it?
It was packaged with the final packaging for the evidence processing room. The evidence control unit.
How did you preserve it? Did you fold it? Did you?
It was folded.
After you put the shirt into the new bag, did you seal the bag?
Yes, I did.
And what'd you do with the bag after you sealed it?
After it was sealed, it was placed on the counter with other sealed items.
Was that somewhere apart from where you were doing your examination?
Yes, it is.
After you finished examining the shirt, did you look at the paper you had examined it on?
Yes, I did.
Did you notice whether there was anything on that paper?
Yes, on this, the butcher block paper, after I took care of the shirt, there was some soil on it.
What did you do with that soil?
I tapped it into the bag with the shirt, the new bag with the shirt.
So that the soil would be kept with the shirt?
Exactly.
And after you did that, what did you do with the paper?
Then the paper was discarded along with my gloves.
And what did you do after that?
Then I gathered I placed down fresh butcher block paper, picked up some fresh gloves, and picked up a new item.
And what was the next item you picked up?
Is it all right if I refer to my notes?
Do you need to?
Yes, please. The next item was a bag marked shoes.
What condition was that bag in?
What condition?
Yeah, was it open or closed?
It was sealed.
All right. People's next in order, Your Honor. People's 419.
So, Mark.
Thank you, Your Honor. Do you recognize the original bag in which you received the shoes of Ron Goldman in this photograph, People's 419?
Yes, I do.
And which bag is that?
It is the brown paper bag on the top.
And it has a number on it?
Yes, it has number 78 on it, and it's marked as boots. Though at the time, it did not have boots marked on it.
So was that, it has the date 8/24/94 on it?
Excuse me, no, that isn't the same bag. I'm sorry.
Different bag?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Move down on the photograph. Do you recognize the bag below that?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us what that bag is.
That is the bag that I assigned, the new bag that I gave the boots.
Show another photograph. I'd like to mark.
It's upside down.
All right, time out. Yeah. Right. All right, Ms. Clark, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ask that this be marked Peoples 420.
420.
Thank you. Do you see a bag in this photograph?
Yes, I do.
And do you recognize the bag that is being shown at this point?
Yes, I do.
It says shoes and LG Bindle,
Yes,
and I see of dirt
yes,
and DL.
correct.
Who wrote that?
I did. Thank you.
Now, is that the bag that originally contained the shoes that came from the coroner's office?
Yes,
And that was the one that was in a sealed condition when you saw it?
yes.
At the time that you opened up that bag, were there any other items around that were not sealed? That is, items of clothing?
No.
When you opened up the bag, what did you see?
I discovered another white paper bindle that was inside the bag and also a small brown bag that was sealed, along with the boots or shoes.
Shoes, boots, shoes. Another photograph, Your Honor, asked that it be marked Peoples 421.
People's 421, photograph of what appears to be a watch and
Yeah, I don't think.
paper bag.
Thank you. You see a bag in the center of that photograph with number 74 on it?
Yes, I do.
Do you recognize that bag?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
It's the bag that came in with the larger bag from the coroner's office that contained the shoes.
And that bag, was it sealed when you recovered it from the bag containing the shoes?
Yes, it was.
Did you unseal it?
Yes, I did.
Was that on clean paper?
Yes, it was.
Were you wearing clean, fresh gloves?
Yes, I was.
And you opened the bag?
Yes, I did.
You broke the seal?
Yes, I did.
What did you see in it?
Hair?
Did you take the hair out?
No, I didn't.
Did you touch it?
No.
What did it look like?
My recollection is it was a light-colored hair, somewhat longish, wasn't real short crop or anything.
And after you saw that, what did you do?
I sealed it back up.
Where did you put it?
It was then put back on the counter with the rest of the physical evidence.
Now, you didn't touch the hair, correct?
Correct.
And other than looking inside the bag, you didn't touch any item associated with the shoes or the hair inside the bag?
No, I did not touch anything.
So after you sealed that bag and put it to the side, what did you do next?
Looked at the paper that I had down, checked my gloves for anything, make sure something may have fallen out. Nothing did. Everything was clean. The paper was changed, gloves were changed, and then I opened up the paper bindle that I'd received with the shoe bag.
People's next in order, Your Honor, People's 422.
422.
Thank you. Now, the bindle that you're referring to had some writing on it when you recovered it from the bag?
Yes, it did.
And was that bindle sealed when you recovered it from the bag?
Yes, it was.
Do you recall what was written on that bindle?
I need to refer to my notes.
To refresh your memory?
Yes.
Go ahead.
This bindle stated, "This large bindle from under Ron Goldman's shoes, when opened for exam by Dr. Bandon and G. Sigler."
Dr. Bodden and who?
Bodden and G. Initial G as in George, Sigler.
Do you know who either one of those gentlemen are?
No, I don't.
And when you opened that bindle, did you?
Yes, I did.
Again, on clean paper with clean gloves?
Yes.
What did you see?
Soil and debris?
Did you touch it?
No.
Just looked at it?
Yes.
And then what?
Resealed it.
And what did you do with it?
After it was resealed, it was placed on the counter with the rest of the sealed items.
At some point after you looked at the bindle, did you examine the paper that it was lying on?
Yes, I did.
And did you see anything on there in way of hair, trace, or soil?
No, it was clean.
And did you check your gloves as well?
Yes, I did.
After sealing up that bindle, then what did you do?
The paper was discarded and the gloves were also discarded. Then new gloves and new gloves were put on, and fresh paper was placed down.
Now, you indicated earlier that with respect to the soil and debris items, you did not intend to put them into the frozen analysis white envelope, correct?
Correct.
But you found that little brown bag with the light-colored hair in it
Yes.
that you resealed again, I take it.
Yes.
And what did you do with that?
That is considered physical evidence. It was physical evidence that was received with Mr. Goldman's items, so it was going to go with the physical evidence, the rest of his physical evidence, his blood swatch and his hair. Correct, his hair, decedent's hair kit.
So what did you do with the little brown bag that contained the light-colored hair?
It was placed with the rest of his items at this time.
In the white frozen analysis envelope?
Yes.
And after doing that, what did you do next?
Then I proceeded to go into the third bag that I had received from the coroner's office from Mr. Goldman.
And at this point, do you have fresh butcher paper down?
Yes, I do.
Clean gloves?
Yes.
And this bag, was it described in some manner? Was there some writing on it?
Yes, it was described as pants, socks.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, may I mark one further photograph? The,
423.
as if we could, 422A? This is the bindle opened up.
All right, 422A.
Thank you. I'm showing you the photograph that is now below 422 that has been marked 422A. Do you recognize what that is?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
It is an opened, it's the white bindle that's opened up.
And is that the soil and debris that you found inside the envelope when you opened it on that date?
Yes, it is.
And that you resealed then?
Yes, it is.
And now with respect to the third bag for Ron Goldman that you received from the coroner's office, photograph, Your Honor, has to be marked Peoples 423.
423.
Do you recognize the bag that's shown you in this photograph?
Yes, I do.
Is that the bag that you got from the coroner's office?
Yes, it is.
And it was in a sealed condition, was it?
Yes, it was.
Did it have that writing on it that's shown right now in this photograph, Peoples 423?
It had the pants, socks on it. I believe I added the debris.
So what did you do with this bag?
The bag was opened up over the clean butcher block paper, and once again I found another bindle inside.
Okay. And what did the bindle look like?
It was another white sealed bindle like the others, the other two.
And what did you do with that bindle?
The bindle was removed from the bag, and the bag was placed aside. It was closed up and placed aside.
Now, with respect to all three of these bindles that were opened, that were recovered from the shirt bag, the pants and socks bag, and the shoe bag, were the items themselves, that is, the pants and socks, the shoes, the shirt, kept separate from where you were looking from when you opened the bindle?
Yes, they were on another table.
And you see a photograph in front of you. I'd ask that it be marked Peoples 424.
424.
Thank you, Your Honor. Do you recognize what's being shown you in that photograph?
Yes, I do.
What is it?
It is the white bindle that I received out of the shirt, pants, I'm sorry. It was out of the pants, socks bag.
Whose writing is that on it?
That's my writing.
When you found it inside, when you first recovered it from the bag containing Mr. Goldman's pants and socks, was it sealed?
Yes, it was.
What did you do with it?
I opened it up, unsealed it.
And showing you now, I'd ask that this photograph be marked Peoples 424A, if I may.
424A, bindle open.
Thank you. Do you see what's been marked as Peoples 424A?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
It is the bindle that's been opened.
And I see some dark stuff in there. Is that what you saw?
Yes, it is.
Was it soil?
Soil and debris, yes.
Did you touch it?
No, I didn't.
After looking at it, what did you do?
Resealed it again. Closed it up, resealed it.
And where did you put it?
It was placed on the counter with the other items,
What other items?
the other sealed items.
What sealed items?
The other white bindles that I've had gathered from the other bags that came from the coroner's office and the physical evidence that was on the counter.
So you had the right frozen analysis envelope,
It was on the counter, yes.
and then you had the sealed bindles
Yes.
off to the side.
Yes.
After you resealed this one, did you look at the butcher paper underneath it?
Yes, I did.
And did you see any trace or soil or debris?
No, I did not.
And did you look at your gloves?
Yes, I did.
What'd you see on them?
They were clean.
And then what happened?
At that stage, then the gloves and the butcher block paper was thrown in the trash, discarded. New gloves, new butcher block paper was laid down.
Now, what was the next item that you looked at?
The next item, at this stage, I had gone through all the all the bags that I'd received from Mr. Goldman. And now I decided to start numbering to get the physical evidence taken care of, get that all together. And at this stage, I put the hair that I received, that I found with the boot or shoes, I made that item number 74.
And, all right, so now you knew everything that was assigned to Ron Goldman by the coroner,
Yes.
and you renumbered.
Yes, I did.
After assigning number 74 to the hair, the small bag that came in the bag with the shoes for Ron Goldman, what did you number next?
Next, I numbered the debris, and the debris that was number 75 was the debris that came with the shoes also. That was in the bindle with the shoes.
Showing you people's 422. You see those 3 white bindles there in this photograph?
Yes, I do.
Are those the debris bindles that you were referring to?
Yes, they are.
You see numbers 75, 76, and 77 on them?
Yes, I do.
And are those the numbers you assigned?
Yes, they are.
And 75 was for the soil and debris that was found with what item?
75 was found with the shoes,
And 76?
found with trousers,
And 77?
found with his jacket or shirt.
And then did you assign envelopes? Okay, you said 74 went into the white frozen analysis envelope.
Yes, it did.
And what about the clothing? Were they assigned numbers?
Not at this time. I next renumbered Nicole's items, her physical evidence. I'm sorry, no, that's not correct.
Oh, what did you do?
In this case, I stuck with Mr. Goldman's items because I didn't want to have the same thing happen to me when I was going over Miss Brown's items in case the coroner added some things to her clothing. I kept booked all of his items together. I did his physical items first, such as your hair and nails and the EDTA swatch. Then I did the debris, and then I proceeded on to get the descriptors of the clothing so I can list them. So I kept all of Mr. Goldman's items together.
All right, so after you finished the numbering of the soil and debris bindles, 75, 76, 77, then you went back to itemize the clothing of Ron Goldman?
Yes, I did.
Now, you indicated to us earlier that you had already examined the shirt and resealed it into a new bag.
Yes.
Was that done before you went back to the other items of evidence?
Yes, it was.
When you went to the other items, the shoes, the pants, and the socks, did you reopen his shirt bag?
No, there was no reason to.
So that was never opened again?
Exactly.
So what item did you go to and look at?
The shoes were next.
Did you examine them with clean paper down and clean gloves?
Yes, I did.
And did you repackage those into a new bag?
Yes, I did.
We already showed you that one, didn't we, in a photograph?
Yes.
And did you reseal it?
Yes, I did.
What item number did you give it?
I signed it number 78.
And did you mark the bag in some other fashion as well?
I put the DR number on it that's assigned to this case. I put my initials, my serial number, and the date that I sealed the bag.
And the DR number that's assigned to this case is?
940817431.
You sure?
Yes.
And that's what you wrote on the bags?
Yes, it is.
All these bags?
Yes.
And then did you examine the paper for hair, trace, or soil after you examined the shoes
Yes.
and your gloves?
Yes.
Did you see any?
No.
Did you change paper and gloves?
Yes, I did.
And then what did you do?
Then I proceeded on with the next item.
And that was?
Next item were the pants.
Showing a photograph, next in order, Peoples 420. Thank you, Your Honor. Do you recognize what's shown there?
Yes, I do.
And what is that?
Blue jeans covered with blood that I received from the coroner's office for Mr. Goldman.
Okay. Now, when you recovered it originally from the coroner's office, were they packaged alone, or was there something else in them, in that bag? Another item of clothing?
In the
that-
pants bag, there were socks were also packaged with them.
They were in the same bag, were they?
Yes, they were.
And after looking at the pants, what did you do with them?
After looking at the pants, they were put into a fresh bag.
And you see a bag in the upper left-hand corner of this photograph?
Yes, I do.
And can you tell us if you recognize the writing on that bag?
It's my writing.
Is that the new bag you put them into?
Yes, it is.
What did you do with the old bag that originally contained these pants and socks from the coroner's office?
The old bag was folded over and put aside with the old bag that the shirt came in.
Showing you what's been marked as People's 420. We're going to zoom in on the right-hand side of the photograph. Can you tell us if you recognize the bag shown in this photograph?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
It's the pants sock bag that was received from the coroner's office.
So again, you preserved that original as well?
Yes, I did.
And did you preserve that bag in the same manner as you did the original bag with the shoes?
Yes, I did.
After you examined the pants, what did you put them into the new bag?
Yes, I did.
Did you seal the bag?
Yes, they were.
And then did you examine the paper, the butcher paper?
Yes, I did.
Did you see anything on it?
No, ma'am.
And what did you do with the paper?
At this time, I still had the socks that came out of the bag, so that was still on it, so I examined the socks and then put the socks into a new bag also.
Now, why didn't you change paper between the pants and the socks?
Because the socks and the pants came in the same bag from the coroner's office, so if there's any cross-contamination between the two items, it had already occurred.
It was too late.
Yes.
Okay. When you examined the socks, did you notice any obvious soil or hair or debris?
No, ma'am.
After examining the socks, what did you do with them?
They were placed into a new bag.
People's,
426.
thank you, 426. You recognize that bag, ma'am?
Yes, I do.
It's a better view of the bag that you put the new bag you put the pants into?
Yes.
Is that your writing?
Yes, it is.
And then with respect to the socks? You've already identified the original bag because it came in the bag with the pants. Do you recognize the bag that's shown underneath the photograph of the socks in these two photographs?
Yes, I do.
And how do you recognize it?
It's got my writing on it.
That's the new bag you put the socks into?
Yes, it is.
Above that is a photograph I'd ask to be marked as People's 427, Your Honor.
427, photo of socks.
Do you recognize those items?
Yes, I do.
What are they?
They're the socks that also were received from the coroner's office that were assigned to Mr. Goldman.
And is there a number there?
Yes, there is.
And do you recognize that number?
Yes, I do.
What number is that?
It's number 80.
And below that photograph is another photograph That's the one of the bag. I'd ask to be marked People's 427, Your Honor, 428, Your Honor.
428.
And that's the new bag you put the socks into.
Yes, it is.
And did you seal that bag?
Yes, I did.
After examining the socks on the butcher paper, did you examine the butcher paper for hair, trace, or soil?
Yes, I did.
Did you see any?
No, I did not.
How about your gloves?
They were also clean.
All right, at this point then you had already examined all of the clothing, first the shirt, then the shoes, then the pants and socks, correct?
Yes.
And what did you do with respect to the numbering of each of these items?
I don't understand the question, I'm sorry.
Well, you told us earlier that you had marked the soil and debris bindles as 75, 76, and 77,
Yes,
and that you then went on to number the clothing.
yes.
And what did you number the clothing?
The shoes were numbered 78, the pants number 79, the socks number 80, and the shirt 81.
At this point, had you completed all of your processing with respect to Ron Goldman?
Yes, I had.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our recess for the afternoon session. Please remember all of my admonitions to you. Don't discuss this case amongst yourselves. Don't form any opinions about the case. Don't conduct any deliberations till the matter has been submitted to you. Also, don't allow anybody to communicate with you with regard to the case. Also, with regards to two of the jurors, I asked Mrs. Robertson to collect from you two books that I need to take a look at to see if there's any problem material in those. So hopefully there won't be, and we'll get those back to you tomorrow. All right? All right, counsel, anything else? All right, we'll stand in recess as far as the jury is concerned until 9 o'clock, and that special proceeding tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. All right. And Ms. Lewis, you may step down. Your order to return tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock.